to Sasa and Goff Live Recorded. I'm Sasha.
I'm Goff.
And I have never messed up an intro to this show. What's up, Goff?
Not much, man. That was a good intro.
Oh, yeah. See, you're stuttering now.
Was I?
No.
I don't think it was a stutter. What's going on, brother?
Nothing.
This intro sucks. Let's stop.
No, I think we keep going. I think it's just going to get worse from here. Welcome to the show, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening.
Hello.
This week's episode, we're going to be talking about our top 3 concerts that we've been to that was pulled from our magical bucket.
Yes.
If this is your first time on the show, that's something we'll eventually get to towards the end of the show. Until then, we got some stuff to go over. Some stuff like Venmo. That's right. We're going to plug the Venmo right here. We have a situation where we have a $3. A new person has taken over the advertising spot on our show.
Is that what we call it? Just the advertising spot?
We don't know.
We don't have a name for this spot.
If you pay $7, you can name
the spot.
What the spot is. Now, this spot right here is it's an 11 by 17 beautiful area that we keep empty. And if you want to perhaps bid on it, you can. And why would you bid on it? To put whatever you want into the advertising spot. I like the name advertising spot.
I do. That's fine. It's
That's
fine.
all right. We can do better, I think.
Quickly, though, it has to be, and this is funny, I was talking to Joni, my wife. She was listening to the show, and she was like, well, why can't I? Obviously, she didn't listen to when we discussed the price breakdown, so I'll do it again real quick. You can't just raise it by like a penny, which she was like, why don't I just give you $2.01? And I said, nope, it's got to be at least minimum. A full dollar.
Full American dollar, and here's the thing. It could happen that we get many bids during the week.
It could.
And I don't know what we're going to do at that point. So we'll just have to figure out that out when it happens. But our dear friend, Hattori Hanzo, has sent us $3 American.
Woo!
Thank you, Hattori Hanzo. Appreciate it. And he wanted us to put a picture of either Billy Joe Travis, Tito, former Yugoslavian president, or RoboCop. All 3 good choices. All 3 known communists. And you went ahead and did the artwork. By the way, your artwork.
Thank you.
French kiss.
It's,
Chef's kiss. Chef's French kiss.
I'll take both. I just figured, if you put anything behind fire, it makes it awesome. Even though the proportions are off, because RoboCop would have very little feet if he was standing.
How tall is RoboCop?
It's 6'4". I don't know.
All right, we'll take it. So you put all 3 of them on this picture. This is Tito, in case anybody was wondering. This is RoboCop in the middle, and that's Billy Joe Travis. Very RoboCop-like physique on a Billy Joe Travis. Billy Joe Travis, my favorite wrestler, maybe of all time. That's pushing it, but a wrestler I absolutely love that not a lot of people know about. He was a Southern wrestler. He never made it huge or whatever. He is known in wrestling circles, very, very small wrestling circles, as the only wrestler to ever be actually arrested live on television for not paying child support.
It's a great story.
And we named our golf tournament after him because he is a great man.
Obviously.
And gone way too soon. He passed away 20 years ago, I think around 41 years of age or something like that. So then you have Tito, former president of Yugoslavia. Depending on who you talk to, this is either the greatest man in the world or the worst man in the world.
I have no idea who this guy is.
And then you have RoboCop, also former president of Yugoslavia, also former professional wrestler.
Possibly current.
He was in WCW. There was a RoboCop. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I did not know that.
And I'm not going to go deep into it because wrestling is not something people like to hear about. But he actually was in the 90s in like WCW. Sting came down and he ended up actually tearing a cage door off. It was generic
a movie crossover thing, or was it
I think so?
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of them? Any of the RoboCops?
I don't think so. Not completely. Pluto, the greatest app on Earth, they have like a RoboCop channel where
so it's just the 4 movies.
However many there are.
There's 3 with that RoboCop, and then there's a remake.
I think I was telling you the other week, and I'm not sure if we talked about it on the show, but hobocop would be a better name for it.
That was good. Yeah.
Right? Hobocop?
Yeah, that was one of your
Did we talk about it?
We didn't talk about it. No, we talked about it off screen.
Okay.
Off screen.
So I was thinking hobocop is an even better premise. It's a homeless man who obviously he's there patrolling the streets because he is part of the streets. Yeah. Who better to know the streets?
That's a good premise though.
Than hobocop.
It's like protect what's yours.
Yeah.
You know?
And then you didn't like where I went after with this because his partner in Hobocop 2 would have been homocop. Now, this is not what you think. This is a cop. This. Yeah, this is a cop who only drinks homogenized milk.
There you go.
Right? So all he does is drink homogenized milk. He's jacked to the gills and he gets all the ladies. Homocop gets all the ladies. Now, I think this is the greatest movie.
See,
if it was 1986, this could be made today.
That's a good one. That's funny, actually. I wasn't going to talk about this, and I won't talk long about it, but I had, because we just did our, a few weeks ago, we did our top game shows, and maybe it's because I saw a skunk or something, but, what if, skunked instead of punked, and it's just, they just unleash skunks on people.
It's not related to the show.
So what's better, that or hobocop?
I'm gonna go with hobocop on this. Yeah, we'll put it up to a vote if we can on the Instagram page.
All right, skunked or hobocop.
Or hobocop. Yeah. All right. So anyway,
thank you, Hattori.
Thank you, Hattori Hanzo. So here's the thing: if you want to knock Hattori Hanzo out of contention, all you got to do, you got to pay $4.
$4.
If not, Hattori Hanzo's picture will remain up on the wall for a 4-week maximum. Now, here's the thing. I proposed it. I think we're going to do it. A 4-week maximum if nobody is paying more, right? And then from there, it goes down to $1 again. Yep. So then we can trick our friends into giving us $1. But we can't trick our friends into giving us $4 consistently.
Yes.
This is in place of having a Patreon. This is how we have decided to steal your money. And by the way, the money is right here into this thing, including this $5 in quarters, which I don't know why it's here. It's just like a bankroll that
it showed up.
So that's more to come, I guess.
Yes,
we'll see.
Thank you, everyone.
I went to the Wisconsin Dells.
Woohoo!
This weekend. I actually just flew in today. Drove in.
Out of your
wings. Don't do it. And I know you went a couple weeks ago. You go with the family. You have kids, so that's a good thing. Yep. I don't have kids. It's me, my wife, and my dog. And my dog travels with us, even though it is unable to go anywhere due to its ferociousness. We just got back from the Dells. I've been complaining about going to the Dells for the past however many months we've had this thing planned. I told my wife I will be courteous, I will be calm, and I will not ruin her time.
Yes.
And then I will tell her exactly how I feel when I got back home right here on the podcast. I have not talked to her. I said, I'm not talking to you.
No.
This is going on the podcast. Yes. You want to know what I think?
Tune in Wednesday.
Yeah, tune in every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday.
That being said, do you have any questions that pop into your head about my Dells trip, or do you want me just to kind of go at it?
Quickly, I'm just going to say, we've gone, I don't know, probably 5 of the last 7 years or whatever. You know, we probably didn't go like COVID years. So we're not like Wisconsin Dells experts or anything. I mean, we usually stay in the same spot that has it's a big resort type place. So also, some of the stuff that was there literally a month ago when I was there might be gone because like Wisconsin Dells obviously very like touristy. Some stuff just doesn't last there. There was this awesome zombie survival thing that I went to like 4 years ago. It's not there anymore, so I'm happy I got to go to it. But no, so I guess my question would be like, what? Because when we go, it's like child heavy stuff that we're doing. We're hanging out at the pools. We don't really. There's a haunted boat ride thing that I've wanted to go on for the last 10 years that we still haven't gotten to go on. So yeah, I mean, like, what did you guys do?
Well, first of all, there is a Ponderosa and a Radio Shack.
I didn't see the Radio Shack. The Ponderosa, I think, is
I took pictures of both of those things because those two prove my point, which my point to Megan the entire time was nothing has changed here since 1984. Yeah. Like, it's the same exact thing. Now, you're telling me things don't last. Everything I saw there, I've seen in my life before. Now, I haven't been to the Dells in 15 years, and before that, 15 years earlier.
Yeah.
Everything's exactly the same that I remember. There are new things. You're right. There are new things that popped up, but I don't know what has left. So if you're telling me Zombieville is gone, all right, I believe you. I believe you.
Well, I think of it kind of like mall kiosks. Or even like any store in Stratford Square for the last 10 years. It's like 1 month. It's for the most part, it's the same, but you're going to see that one spot that just has a new tenant every month.
We did this thing where you drive down the street that the resort that you stay is on, and we drove up and down it like 4 or 5 times before we saw one building, and we were like, did they put that up last night? Like, it was like a pyramid, like a... Temple of the Doom, Hidden Dragon, or something. I don't know the names of these places.
Did you see the one with the Transformers?
Yeah, the upside down house or whatever. We did that 15 years ago.
Okay.
Shocked that it is still alive.
I'm shocked based on the rating, or like the actual... We've never gone because the ratings are so terrible for that place.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because every year you go, it still has a sign that says today only, $5.
$5. Yes, exactly.
And there's never anyone there. We pulled over like everyone else just to take pictures with the Transformers.
The first thing we did was we went to the deer park, which is next door to that place.
We've never been there, but I know of it.
And we were like, I can't believe this is still here after all this time. And we looked at the reviews, and it was like 3.6 out of...
Oh, God, it might have even gotten higher then, because, I mean, I think it was like in the high 2s back when the... But there's a place down.
The sign is great though. $5 today only.
Yeah, today only.
Every day,
every single day. Yeah, we went to one of those in Universal Studios when we were down there, like in Orlando. Joni and I. It was the same premise. It was like an upside down like government building, but it just had a bunch of wacky stuff inside. So I assume that's what this is. But people are just like even producer Tony. I remember talking to him specifically about this one. He's like, "No, that place sucks." It's like, it's got to be bad for you to be like, "Don't spend $5. It sucks."
I kind of remember it not being good, but also not being anything. Like it didn't have a theme. It was just like something was upside down.
Like sometimes it's just like, man, I almost wish I hated this place, but I don't. I just don't. I have.
Interestingly enough, that temple pyramid place down the street also $5 today only, but it's today a man only. Who's holding the sign.
I don't know if I've ever seen a guy holding the sign.
Yeah, it was pretty depressing. We did some stuff that like we have done before. So like. We did 36 holes of Pirates Cove mini golf, which I believe everybody goes mini golfing there. They have a Ripley's Believe It or Not, which used to be in a different building, and now it's more of like a art and like weird.
Is this still called Ripley's?
Yeah, and it was good. It was solid.
Okay,
it's not the biggest place in the world, but it's just like weird art. Like they had a cow that was made with all
I've been to the, like I was talking about in Florida, we went to the Ripley's down there, so I haven't been to the Dells one, but I know exactly what you're talking about, the kind of stuff they have.
So weird weird
stuff like, made out of the tiniest spoons,
or like French toast artwork or whatever. So interesting. You could waste your time there. You're seeing weird stuff. It was all right, not bad. The Wisconsin Ducks. You've never been?
Never done it.
Which is wild.
It's just...
That's as wild as it gets.
I guess, because that's kind of one of those trademark things, and for as many times as we've gone, we've used the kids as an excuse, but now the kids are old enough that we... And like I was just talking about with the haunted boat thing I want to go on, the kids are old enough that we could leave them like at the hotel room for like a couple hours and do it. So now it's like, we have to. But yeah, we've never done the Ducks.
It's a 1 hour thing.
Okay.
The first time I ever went on was, I remember my parents were there. I sat in the back row, and I listened to TLC's Crazy Sexy Cool on my CD Walkman over and over. Just waterfalls.
Good.
There were no waterfalls on the trip, unfortunately.
Don't chase them, bro.
I won't. I just won't.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if we did them last time when me and Megan went. But this time we were like, let's go do the Ducks. And honestly, I enjoyed them more as an older man.
Hold on a second.
What's that?
We just got an alert.
Uh-oh.
Well, I did in my Zelle. From our buddy Mike. He just sent us $4.
Whoa.
And this is going to sound crazy, but I wanted to remove that picture from Hattori Hanzo right there. You just go ahead and pull that one down.
Is this what AI is?
This is what AI is because... What the?
Oh, wow.
There's another picture. Oh,
How did you do that?
Mike, you have usurped Hattori Hanzo. Now it is a picture, a wonderful picture, kind of a grainy picture, though. I keep saying the word picture, of my dear late grandfather, Bob Urich, in a wonderful, yes, a cowboy hat and cowboy boots, and basically this is just like a great looking man. We don't even know when this picture was taken. This picture looks kind of grainy because this is probably like 3 or 4 pictures of pictures of pictures of pictures. Okay. There's a glare on his knee because literally I think this picture was taken from a picture frame, so there was a glare. But anyway, yeah. Mike, thank you so much.
So $4.
$4. This thing just got heavier. Wow. I think it's in there now.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Jacked. This man is jacked to the gills.
Yes.
Also, former Yugoslavian president. I bet you didn't know that. But here's
that I did know.
What do I do with this now?
Well, we need to have a folder or something, like, because I remember years back you made a poster with all the episode covers of your former podcast.
That's
Maybe
true.
One day we can have that picture alongside the dinosaurs and also Callie. So I don't know. Let's hold on to them.
All right.
Here, I got a folder.
For the time being, do I put it here? Hattori Hanzo got 11 minutes here.
Sure.
We'll put it here for now. But Hanzo, you've been bumped.
Yes.
But you have been bumped.
This is the featured spot.
So now, if you want to be in the featured advertising spot, Hattori Hanzo's gone. We're going to leave him here because it's behind my head. Can't see it anyway. But if you want to be in the advertising spot now, $5 American gets you in there. Or you have to wait 4 weeks, and this handsome man will be up here for 4 weeks, and the price will go back down to $1. So I don't know.
I almost want to tell people not to outbid the $4 just so that can stay.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
But you know what? Again, we got to pay for printer ink.
That's true. That's true. We need a better printing situation. Yes. Yeah, definitely.
All right, I'm sorry to interrupt. Actually,
no, it's okay.
Blame Mike for that one.
I will say this. The Ducks. Back to the Ducks.
The Ducks.
The only thing
Not the Mighty Ducks.
I will say I had a situation at the Ducks. You know me. I like to make jokes. I like to talk.
You do.
And sometimes it doesn't end up very well for me. Sometimes people are offended, and that such thing happened. And a lot of people listening to this might be offended as well. And but I did have to apologize for something at the Ducks.
Okay.
Because I offended a nation.
Wow.
Possibly multiple nations with this one. So we go and we're getting tickets to the
Ducks. Just beep out for the next 2.5 minutes. Go ahead.
We go to get tickets for the Ducks, and there's a lady there. And, me and Megan are just standing there, and we're figuring out the pricing and all that kind of stuff. And she's like, oh, you can get half off on another boat tour and blah, blah, blah. And I go, do you guys have a senior discount and a military discount? Just trying to be funny. I'm not a senior.
Yeah.
But I also said military because why not? And so I said that, and she was like, oh, yes, what branch of the military? No. And I said, oh, no, Serbian army. Right? Like I'm thinking just clearly to make it that I am not Serbian. At that point, I was like, no, I was just kidding.
Yeah.
Just trying to get a discount or whatever. And she had already put the
I kind of thought there'd be no questions asked.
Yeah.
One of those.
So she then... This is me trying to blame the woman, by the way, now.
Okay.
It's all my fault. She goes, okay, well... And she kind of looked to her left because there was another person working, and then she clicked some things, and then our price got lower. So she gave us a military discount, and then she asked me, she said, thank you for your service. She extended her hand, and she said, what branch of the military? And I believe I shook her hand, and I said, oh, no, I was kidding. Serbian, I was just joking. And she was like, you don't joke about the military.
Oh, no.
And she goes, not only that, but I have family in all different military branches, and we lost someone from the military. No. And so I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm an idiot, and I just try to make jokes and blah. Definitely felt bad about it. And then she goes well, I can't. I'm still going to give you the discount. because she couldn't like.
Yeah, she
I think
couldn't
she
do it.
couldn't ask like her boss or whatever, because then it was like she didn't actually clear that I was military.
Or that's two things she doesn't know how to do.
maybe. So I was like, okay, so we got the discount, which is nice.
Yeah.
But then we started walking away, and I was, in my mind, I didn't think, never say this joke again. In my mind, I was like, I have to be way more clear about this joke in the future. And Megan was like, what's your problem? Don't do that anymore. And I was like, yeah, but there's a way you could do it that's like funny, maybe.
Yeah.
And then I realized, I thought back to when I was a youth, and Kevin Garnett. You remember Kevin Garnett, the basketball player?
Yes.
He got in trouble one time, and I think they were interviewing him after a game, and he's like, "This is war, and we're the soldiers." And then like people were like, "You're not soldiers, and you're playing basketball. Like it's not the thing." I'm not sure if he apologized or not. I apologized because I feel I'm a better man than Kevin Garnett, but not true. He's probably better than me. But anyway, so that was a weird situation.
Yeah.
And then we got onto the Ducks and had a great time at a discounted rate.
Did you see the woman again, like when you got off?
No.
I don't know how the Ducks work. Do you get off in the same spot, or?
Luckily, we had to like walk into a different line in a different area, and no, I was like head down, tears being held back.
I can understand her being like offended. Maybe not offended, even maybe not the right word, but yeah, I could see her maybe being.
I could see it. Like, you know, if you're in on something and it gets made fun of, you kind of feel bad about it.
Yeah.
And this is like people who protect our country.
Yeah, no,
So-
I no disrespect, but yeah, I mean, like when it's. Yeah, maybe you could have worded that, but like
I should have
you know, with the economy these days, just looking for any kind of.
Exactly. So I should.
And then she's like, you know, my father-in-law is the economist. Of
Yeah,
it
right.
just keeps getting worse.
So it's I felt bad. I feel bad, but I will try and make it funnier next time I say it, or I won't say it at all. Maybe I don't know. That was maybe the most exciting thing that happened on the trip. All that being said, I did enjoy the Ducks, and I think it's better when you're older. You kind of like.
Now, what exactly is it?
It's a little thing. It's like
no,
tank.
not the. I mean, like, what do you do? Is it a tour? Just around?
Yeah, you sit in these little like. It's almost like a tank.
Yeah, it can go like drive and go because it's got.
You go through a forest,
Okay.
and they show you stuff, and you see some animals and whatever. And then it goes into the river.
Nice.
There's like a nice river, and then it points stuff out on the river and the rocks and the beaches and, you know, the landmarks around the area. And then it goes back through the forest. And then there's a part at the end where he stops the thing and he tries to sell you books to like make tips for himself.
Oh no! Like he pulls off and he like turns the camera off and he's just
he
like pulls these books out of his his
pulled
fanny
up
pack and he's
to
like,
a
hey,
hill, pulls up to a hill. Turns off the car.
Or like his little lackey came running up with the box of books.
No lackey, it was him.
Oh no.
He turns around and he goes, and by the way, this guy was awesome. He must be a comedian or like learning about comedy stuff.
Okay.
The entire thing was just jokes. A lot of them were cheesy.
Well, that's a great place to like nail your routine.
100%.
You know?
The people here, by the way, if you've never been to the Wisconsin Dells, to get into the Wisconsin Dells, you have to not have sleeves on your shirt, right? That's a prerequisite. I felt bad. I was overdressed.
Yeah.
I had sleeves, and they were not camouflaged. They were regular sleeves. So these people love this guy's jokes. I mean, they probably love the Get Her Done guy as well. You know what I'm saying? They loved all of his like anti-Chicago Bears stuff because we're in Wisconsin and go Packers.
Yeah.
Like they were going nuts. I don't know what they do in the winter. I don't know where the sleeves come back into play, but they were loving the guy. He was very cheesy, but he was also very funny in certain times. And like you could tell, kind of embarrassed to have to sell these things. We ended up buying one of the books.
I honestly thought and was picturing like this guy. It's like books he wrote, you know, like where it's like, that's what I'm saying. He like turns the camera off. So it's like, this is his like 10 minutes he gets where no one sees him actually like hustling on the side. It's
he says that like
my life as a a bus driving comedian or like.
He says that he has to buy these books from the place and then try to sell them.
Well, that's how it is, like concessions at like baseball games. Like when you buy a beer, like the beer guys, they go in and they drop $40 or whatever, and then everything they make from that case of beer, including tips, is theirs.
I can't believe.
And then they go back in and it's like they pay for more technically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so that's what he was doing. He did send. I mean, he sold some of them, and I bought one.
What is it? What a book about? What?
It was a book about the tour that we were on, except it was like long version of it. He's like, "There's way too much stuff that I can't talk about." We didn't care about the. I almost gave him the book back with like $5. I wanted to tip him.
Man. You're great.
He was good. He was good. I wish I knew his name. He said it, Isaac something, or I don't know. But if you're a Ducks driver and you tell jokes. I feel like I could be a duck comedian. I feel like I could do it.
Like you, okay? For whatever reason, I just lost the train of thought. I thought you just meant like telling jokes about ducks. Like,
no.
I could be a duck comedian. No, again, it's a good spot to. I mean, like when you're just working on families, you know,
yeah.
just.
I might have to pull back my military material, but like I think I could do some squeaky clean stuff that make people laugh. So I don't know. Yeah. All that being said, I did eat a pretzel. I did get a hot pretzel, brought it back to the hotel. We stayed at a hotel where like divorced dads stay. And so we had a refrigerator. Yeah. And I put the hot pretzel in the cold refrigerator, and I ate it 3 hours later, ice cold, and I thought of you.
No salt or anything?
No, I get that salt out of there. So all in all, I'll say this, Dells was fine. I had a good time. Good. Of course, my wife's there and my dog. That's all I need. Yeah. If we're being honest, who cares about the rest of the stuff? But yeah, we ate some food. We had a good time. The dog hated it. The dog just sits in a cage like in the hotel room when we leave, because in case they come in. Oh the dog has to be like.
Yeah, that does suck. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So we have a pretty big cage. Yeah. She can like move around and whatever. And then we take her outside and all that stuff. So it's a little bit of a hassle, but whatever. I'd rather have my dog with me than at home because it can't feed itself.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, that's I think all that. It's way too long of the Wisconsin Dells. I didn't mean to talk about it. What's going on in your world this week? Anything exciting?
Nothing, man. Nothing. I was kind of just banking on you talking about the Dells for a little bit. So if you want to just talk about what we're putting inside ourselves, we could do that.
We can do that, but there's a noise coming from over there. Was that you?
I don't know how you even heard that.
I was under here.
Wait a minute. This is insane. First time in Sasa and Goff live recorded history. We have another donation. I should say another donation. We have another person who has added to the wall. It is our friend Useless Dave.
Oh my God. This is unbelievable.
Fellow podcaster. He has sent us $5. I don't even know what the picture is.
$5?
$5 American dollar.
Is that what? This is how much $5 is here.
$5. I'm not even going to count it out, but I'll take your word for it.
Unbelievable.
This is unbelievable, and he sent me the message says it's under your grandpa. So
wow. Okay. Oh my God.
What is it?
Wait, is this staying up? It's Useless Dave.
Whoa! Look at that.
All right. Well, Useless Dave. Now he is one half of the 1988 Topps podcast, a podcast that goes through every card in the 1988 Topps baseball set, and they talk about baseball players. Is there anything else in there about why he's wearing Jankos?
I don't know about the Jankos, but he just asked. Hey, actually, the picture he sent, which is the top half, I had about, right, pretty much to where the hand ends, okay. And he said it. He was wearing Jankos in the picture. So I added some cooler ones.
Yeah, I know Useless Dave, and he is taller than 4 feet.
Yes, because his legs are really little there. But yeah, so
all right, well, unfortunately,
you said that you could advertise your podcast.
That's true.
And it is a very good, very factual podcast, by the way. And they've got talk about longevity. They've only got there's 800 cards in the entire set. So $5 from Useless Dave.
All right, so if you want to beat Useless Dave, you have to send us $6 to our Venmo graphic, potentially.
Yeah.
Or he's gonna stay up there for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So the whatever, $6 or that.
Okay.
All right, what's inside us this week? You want to start off? You asked me first.
Sure. All right. You know what? You are a hell of a salesman because a couple weeks ago you sold me on a documentary about the Rockefeller explosion.
Oh.
So if you didn't listen to, I don't know, either last week or 2 weeks ago, Sasha talked during his what he was putting inside himself. It's literally just called the Rockefeller explosion documentary.
Yeah.
It is a 7.4 on IMDb. So this is actually I took some notes here. So I'll talk a little bit about this.
Good?
That's good. Yeah.
Okay.
Out of 10. I think pretty much like a 6 and higher is something that I'd be like, okay, that's respectable. But
okay.
Yeah, 7.4 is very good. Yeah, just some of my random notes. The guitar strumming, like in the entire thing.
Oh, yeah.
Every time I heard that, I thought the movie was going to end. Like, I thought it was coming towards the end, but nope, it was just like 2 or 3 minutes of strumming and then it would stop.
Yeah, it was an interesting choice.
Yeah, and it didn't really like, it's not like, let's get the music going because the story's going again. It would just like a guy would be in the middle of talking and then the music would start picking up again. First of all, yes, like you said, very peculiar people in this. The main guy, the guy who created it, Aaron, I believe his name is, the tan he had the entire time, and you could see like the raccoon eyes around him. Yeah. This guy just like with his wife, that it just like I was so uncomfortable watching them because she's like 20 years younger than him, and it's like I don't buy her as a super fan. I just see like, maybe one time she like ran into him and he's like, hey, I'm the Chucky. I created these things. For the 80s or whenever this footage is from, which is hilarious, because this movie is from 2008 is when it came out. Yeah. This is all footage from like the 90s, like the early, like late 80s, early 90s. And
except when they're interviewing the people, I assume that's got to be recent. It's for the documentary, but the rest of the stuff showing like
I don't even know, to be honest with you. I don't even know if there's any new footage, like, because this it's just like
maybe they like recorded it and sat on it for a long time. It definitely looks old.
Yeah. And like the other guy, the one who bought the box you talked about, I forgot his name too, but he's the one that bought and then created his own.
Yeah.
And it's like, he's like, well, I got this thing. And he just set it up in his garage. And it's like it doesn't seem like or like maybe he used to put shows on, but everyone in the neighborhood now is just like, dude, we don't care about this thing anymore.
Yeah.
Just a very odd documentary, but it was like, it was 70 minutes, which is nice, but I feel like they could have shaved about 30 minutes off of it.
I agree.
It would have been.
I agree. Towards the 40-minute mark, you feel like let's wrap
again,
it up.
And it's like with the guitar strumming every time, just like all right, that's got to be it. And there was like a number of fade to black scenes that just kept coming back to whatever.
The warehouse that the guy had,
that was awesome. I wrote down that was probably the coolest part.
Okay.
And also just like it was pretty funny watching him like traverse through it.
Yeah, and
so it was like almost like a found footage thing.
Yeah. There's like leaks on the floor. He's like, this isn't supposed to be there. There was like a bench where a guy was like working on something, and he's like, that guy died the day after he worked on this. Or what, like there was just so much like insane stuff in this warehouse. And it's one of the weird but good parts of the thing. Yeah.
Well, the guy I was talking about before, his name's Chris Thrash, which is an incredible name.
Yeah.
But yeah, like towards the end of the movie, like I watched this like after we talked about it, so it's been like a week or so. But what the hell? It's like him walking around in like the Billy Bob costume, which is the giant bear. It's like, but he's doing like a serious like voiceover at the end, but he's like in this costume, and it's just
takes
like,
the head off
it's like you can't take any of it seriously. And then I like in the beginning, too, speaking of that character Billy Bob, he's like describing him, and he's just like, well, I got to tell you, I'm a sweet guy. I'm straight, but I'm sweet. Like it's like make sure you let everyone know. Yeah, it's but yeah. So I had a lot of fun watching this. I think I just like. like Saturday morning, I was up early and it was just like, yeah, what the hell, I watched that thing. It's like, I gotta take notes.
All right, well, I'm glad you enjoyed it then.
Yeah, it's worth a watch. Yeah, it's just on YouTube, just called Rock of Fire Explosion. And,
yeah, you can't miss it. If you're like, is this it? Watch it for 60 seconds and you're like, this is probably what they're talking about.
Yeah. So that's it for me. How about you?
All right, I got two things I'm going to just mention this week. One is the Leagues Cup. Do you have any clue what the Leagues Cup is?
I do not.
So the Leagues Cup is a soccer tournament or whatever you want to call it. They take all the teams from the MLS, Major League Soccer, and they take, I think, all the teams from the Mexican Soccer League, like top soccer league, and all of them, it's like 47, 50 teams, whatever it is. And they have one big tournament. So, like, only one team comes out the winner of the League's Cup. So this has nothing to do with the regular season.
Like March Madness?
Yeah. Eventually it gets to a bracket of 32 teams. And then, it's like one game, winner takes all. But it's not, like, part of any regular season. It doesn't count for any of that. It's just its own separate little tournament.
Real quick, did you know, like, the NBA did that?
Yeah.
I had no idea what that was or how it was. Like, wait, when are these games happening?
December, yeah.
Okay, so
they do that because, like, people stop watching in December. So or like, the players themselves are like, it's December, I'm not going to play as hard. So they made this tournament, which, by the way, it's like very popular in soccer, like European and whatever. All other soccer, they all do it. Like all these different cups and things that they play during their regular season. So the NBA has, people kind of check out in December because it's such a long season.
Yeah.
It goes till April, May, June is the finals, whatever. And then players are also like, it's December, we'll start caring later.
Yeah.
They create this tournament that the winners get, like, I don't know if it was like $500,000 or whatever it is. But so you have players on the team who don't make a lot of money, who, like, that's a big chunk of change for them. And then the other players want to play, like, for a cup because it's, it gives them something to like actually play for. The first year was last year, and the Lakers won with LeBron. They lost in the first round of the regular playoffs. So a lot of people were making fun of LeBron, like, this is the only ring he can get, and whatever. But yeah, so this is kind of interesting because it's like if the NBA did that, but with a different league, right? So it's American and a Mexican league combined. Cool. And then they have their little way to dwindle down to the 32 teams. And then from 32, it's like do or die. You must win or
so I don't even know, is their season going right now? Or
MLS,
is Okay.
I don't know about Mexican soccer. I'm assuming it's still going, but I don't know. Like, I'm trying to get into, like, regular soccer instead of international, like the World Cup. I pay attention every 4 years. What I mean? So I'm trying to watch, like, Italian and British and even MLS, which is like, you can tell the difference between MLS and European soccer when you watch them. But they're still good. Like, I'm enjoying it. I'm having a good time. And this was a cool little thing. Like, any bracket gets me. Yeah. I'm hooked by any sort of bracket at all. As my previous podcast did one. I don't even remember what it was. Top show moments or whatever we did. But this is fun. It's down to the final 4 teams, and the final 4 teams are all American teams. They're all MLS teams. So, like, if you tie at the end of the games, it goes to penalty kicks, too. It's not, like, extra time and all that.
Now, how do you feel about that? Like, penalty kicks versus just...
I like it.
Okay.
I like it.
Because it's like I don't watch soccer, but, like, with hockey... It's like there's a big dispute. Some people hate shootouts.
Because it's not like the game.
Shootouts are exciting to me, but I can understand why people... there's every sport's going to have one of those in football. It's like, it comes down to a kicker.
But, that's true. It's just like, like that's been the tradition of the game.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. So I've been watching a lot of random Leagues Cup games. And, like, they show them on Apple TV. I think MLS has an Apple TV contract. When I got my new phone through T-Mobile, they gave me Apple TV for free. Nice. I don't watch it, but I was like, oh, is it on there? And it was on there, so now I can watch that stuff. So, yeah, watching the MLS is what I've been doing lately.
Cool.
And then the only other thing, it's an album that I was listening to that I haven't heard in a while, and I was like, I think Goff likes these guys, but I don't remember. Ryan's Hope?
Yes.
Yeah, Apocalypse in Increments. Great album.
Yeah.
I listened to it for the first time in a while, and then, like, 8 of the songs ended up on my main playlist that I listened to because... I was like, oh, this song and this song and this song, and man, it's just so good. And It's been 20 years probably since they put the album out. 15.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because I think that was the last one they actually put out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They had one before that, maybe an EP as well. But they, I remember they one time, just like to describe them quickly, it was like Chicago's version of Bad Religion. Like that's what someone said. I mean, like the voice is similar.
Yeah.
Music, I guess. I mean, they're a punk band, but
I hear a lot of Living End in them.
Okay, yeah.
They're a 3-piece. The guitarist is an incredible guitarist. Like solos a lot like the Living End guy. I think he was a big Living End fan, and when the Living End, who's from Australia, came to play here years ago at that show, this poster behind me,
That one.
Ryan's Hope was like, hey, we'll reunite and play this show. And then like enough people were like, yeah, that would be awesome that they reunited to play that show.
Sweet.
And so, yeah, I mean, 3-piece, awesome band from the Chicago suburbs, no longer a band. They went on to be in like Reaganomics and I don't know what
I didn't
else.
know that.
Yeah.
I know of that band. I didn't know that that's what they did.
But that's it. That's what I've been putting inside myself this week. And that leads us to our top 3 concerts of all time. Will that Living End Ryan's Hope show be on my list? I don't know. Let's find out.
Next week.
We do our top 3 every week. We pick what it's going to be. Last week we chose from a bucket, our famous... We got to come up with a better name for the bucket. But our bucket that was created by our dear friend, producer Tony, who will always have a spot right here. That's producer Tony 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And he is now going to be part of our background for the time being until I get mad at him and take it off.
Yeah, he hates seeing it so much that he actually steals the bucket back.
Yeah, he's going to take that back. And then we have to come up with a new gimmick that clearly works very well.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm mumbling, I'm stammering. I could run for president.
Woo!
Oh, top 3 concerts of all time. My number 3, a band I don't think you like.
Okay.
A band called Muse. Big band from England, been around a long time. I'm a big fan of Muse, have been for a long time. Many, many years ago, about 15 years ago, maybe longer than that. Me, producer Tony, a bunch of us, Giuseppe, we got in one of my vans, one of my many.
Like a
I
work van or?
No, I'm kidding. I don't have many vans.
Okay.
I had one van, but it was like the Egro Willie tour van.
Real quick, I'm sorry. I went into a market the other day, and I saw there was a guy who works there that I haven't seen in like months. No joke. And I'm like, hey man, how you been? What's up? Where you been? And he's like, well, I was dealing with my 3 wives, and that's how and he's just like, I'm just joking, dude. And I was like, I have no way how to respond to that, because I wasn't sure if he was serious, but yeah, it was just like,
So yeah, I used to have one van.
Okay,
it was the Egro Willie tour van.
Totally different story.
Totally different. All 3 wives took it in a divorce.
Yes,
but we got into this van and we went to 2 different towns because Muse was not huge at that time here.
Okay,
so they played in Lansing, Michigan, where Michigan State University is.
Are they American? I don't even know.
No, British.
Okay.
British band.
Did you say that?
Yeah.
Maybe. Sorry.
A lot of people. A lot of people say they're a Radiohead ripoff. I disagree. I think they're like a heavier and more guitar driven, and Radiohead's more like artsy, whatever.
Okay.
Big fan for a long time. Producer Tony's the one who got me into them. And we got into a van. We went to see them in Lansing, Michigan, and then the next day or whatever in Muncie, Indiana.
Wow.
Because they were playing I think it was an MTV like college campus tour. So we went to the Lansing show, and then the Muncie show. I think that was the order of it. Maybe it was the other way in reverse.
How far was the drive, like in between those?
I don't know. Muncie's towards the bottom of Indiana, so whatever that is. And Muncie sucked, I'm pretty sure. It's a college
Indiana
town.
is Jerry's favorite town on Parks and Rec. Go figure.
It's also
him and his wife have a timeshare in Muncie.
Okay, that's hilarious.
Yep.
It's also the home of Ball State University.
Nice.
So we went down there, and it was the Lansing show was in like a half of an arena, like curtained off for them to play. The Muncie show was in like a theater.
Wow.
We were in the front row and we had seats. It's a rock concert, right? Yeah. And so like we would stand up and we were allowed to like be on the stage.
Okay.
Like our hands like on the stage or
so
whatever.
Just you though.
Just the front row. It was the weirdest like experience ever. And getting to see this band who's like mind-blowing, incredible musicians. He's classically trained pianist and guitarist and all this stuff.
How many guys are in the band?
3-piece band.
Okay.
Just tremendous band.
It shows I know nothing about them.
Yeah.
And
I don't
it's
think
ignorance,
you'd
but it's like,
them.
yeah, I just more like what I've heard, not a fan.
Yeah. I don't think you would like them. Especially, like, the newer stuff that they're
a Radiohead knockoff
now. But anyway, that show was just like, for all those different reasons, like, and that's another part of this, is like trying to pick your top 3 concerts.
Oh, yeah.
There could be many different reasons as to why you have a favorite concert.
Yeah.
And we've been lucky enough, like, I was going through ticket stubs to try and figure this stuff out. We've been to so many
hundreds
concerts.
Upon hundreds.
Yeah. So it's an interesting question to answer. I think it's unanswerable, but I picked some of my favorites. So that's my number 3.
I have stories for. That's pretty much what it was,
yeah.
you know. So my number 3 is it's either Warped Tour 97 or Warped Tour 96. It was the first one I went to at the New World Music Theater, which, you know, it's now called the Credit Union 1 Amphitheater.
Okay.
Like, which is probably the 7th name since.
Tweeter Center, I remember.
Yeah, Tweeter. Anyway, there's been a ton of them. But yeah, this was one of the first concerts I went to. This was the first festival I ever went to. There was 6 of us in a very small sedan. It was my brother and a few of our buddies. But I remember, and it's funny too because you talked about the Deftones a couple weeks ago, how they were at Lollapalooza and you were just never a fan.
Yeah,
I was a fan of the Deftones on this day because they were the band. I forgot, the day was just going kind of lame for the first like hour or two. And then the Deftones and it was raining that day. So they actually, like, Warped Tour, if you're unfamiliar with this, is a huge festival with, like 50 plus bands, whatever. This day, since it was raining, they had to put everyone onto the main stage at Tweeter and just split it up, which is how they started doing Warped Tours anyway there. Yeah. But so it was nice actually just staying in one spot and just back and forth seeing all the bands. So it was cool in that. But the Deftones, no one ever heard of this band. And I mean, like, Chino, the lead singer, he's up on the 20-foot speakers. And I mean, like, everyone's just wanting him to everyone's getting ready. I mean, like, luckily he didn't jump off. But I mean, for that, yeah, so I'll always love the Deftones for that. Just getting, like, and I mean, like, we went on to, like, our group of friends, like, all loved them for a while. And I think I kind of fell off quickly because, yeah, same thing. I'm like, they're like sex rock. And I don't really, it's always like whiny, like, but
to me, it's like he's almost never in key or
it's just like, are you doing that on purpose, man? It's like
I never got it. I just didn't get it.
Yeah. But we actually, one of our friends got arrested at the show, one of the guys that came with us, because I don't know what band it was. This isn't like the Offspring at Lollapalooza that one year when they told everyone to throw garbage on stage. But at some point, and this is again at the Tweeter Center or whatever it was or called, which is half lawn and half pavilion with seats, people started tearing seats out. Now this is crazy because, like, this is like a punk show. This isn't like a metal show or like a hardcore show, but it's like, people just started getting unruly. And I remember during Face to Face, Trevor, the lead singer, telling people, it's just like, hey, it's like, if guys pass the stuff forward, like if someone and you'd get a tap on the shoulder and it would be 3 or 4 connected seats.
Wow.
It was insane. I couldn't believe it. And yeah, one of our friends, like, I mean, this is literally, I'm not like joking around, that we weren't doing this. We were watching the music. Our friend John, who was just kind of there with us, I won't say his last name, but yeah, he got busted by security for destroying these things, got arrested. We didn't even know it. So after the show, he was waiting for us outside the car. And he's like, yeah, they let me go. Like, because it was just because we live 45 minutes away or whatever. So they're like, dude, this just don't do it again. Wow. But yeah, awesome day. First time I saw NoFX, Pennywise, Face to Face, Guttermouth, Unwritten Law. And then that would be the first of every Chicago Warped Tour until it ended that I went to. So
Warped Tour, when we were talking about it before, and I was like, I'm not sure what the first year was that I went to it. I was going through my ticket stubs and all that stuff, and I think 99 might have been my first year. And I was looking, and it cost $22.25 for my ticket. And I was like, man, that's insane. And then even the later ones, I had one for like 2005, and it was like $28. Yep. I'm like, that would not be the case
unreal
today. Yeah.
That's the service charge now.
Yeah.
So what's your number 2?
Number 2, I have what I'm thinking is my first concert I ever went to. And so there's a little nostalgia in there. Second of all, like, I love most of these bands still to this day. Twisted Christmas 2.
Oh.
Q101's Twisted Christmas 2 from 1995.
Okay.
Which blew my mind when I saw that online. Goo Goo Dolls, not a big fan, but whatever, they're all right. They have that one song that I say I don't like, but I like it.
Yeah.
Goo Goo Dolls, Soul Asylum, Silverchair, Porno for Pyros, Tripping Daisy, who I've gotten back into lately. love Tripping Daisy. The Toadies, Oasis, Alanis Morissette, and Rob Zombie. White Zombie, excuse me. And I remember going to this show mostly for White Zombie, right? Everyone else, I'm in. Even the bands I don't like. I was never a big Porno for Pyros guy. Alanis, I was into Alanis Morissette. I guess Goo Goo Dolls and maybe Porno for Pyros. Everyone else.
You know what? I love all these bands.
I really kind of do. But we were going for White Zombie, but the show was so long because it was in like Allstate Arena or whatever.
Okay.
And it was
so it wasn't multiple
one
stages,
band
one after
another, and it starts at like 6, and then it was like 1 in the morning. And in 1995, I was 13 years old. I was with my uncle Bob and my cousin Nick, and we didn't last till White Zombie. And I remember we left. And we went to White Castle on North Avenue in Villa Park, there, which just closed down recently. It made me sad. But yeah, so that's my number 2, just for nostalgia reasons, for like a great show. I don't know. There was a lot about it. I remember exactly where we were sitting. Like, It's so weird. I can't remember some things from 2 weeks ago, but there's some things that stick with you.
Yeah. No, my list is. Spoiler, it's like a lot. Mine are just all punk bands, obviously, but that's why I feel bad. You're being a lot more diverse with yours. But anyway, my number 2 is the Punk-O-Rama tour from 2000. This was the first Punk-O-Rama tour, at least, that like Epitaph did.
Was this at the Metro?
Yeah, it was Millencolin, 10-Foot Pole, Vision, and Oscar.
Yeah.
I remember we got there. I was the first person in line. So I was the first person that walked in. I remember that. I don't know why that was cool. And then also Dennis, the lead singer from 10-Foot Pole, like walked by and stopped and talked with us for a few minutes. And it was I was a huge Epitaph fan at that time. So I mean, like that was like at the Warped Tour, and then on this like this festival too, they were always giving free stuff out. So like those shows were awesome. Like just like those Epitaph gift bags with the stickers and everything. And
there is one guy on eBay who just sells like all the old stuff that you used to get from shows, and I mean some of it like you completely forgot about until you see an Oscar sticker. I used to have that sticker.
It's crazy, but yeah, I remember I bought an Oscar hoodie. And it was funny because like even they were shocked, like because I didn't like I bought like I was the first one in and just went to them first because I think I bought that album like I don't know a couple weeks before.
That's awesome
because they had a single on whatever Punk-O-Rama came out that time, and and they were another band that just they didn't go. They had I think one album after that, and they were kind of problematic. I think they just a lot of infighting and stuff. And then
I was there. I was at the show as well.
Yeah.
But I think I went specifically for. Did you say 10-Foot Pole?
Yeah.
I think I went for 10-Foot Pole and then like found out about those other bands at that time because I was
because Vision was like considered a hardcore band, but they're like kind of like H2O where it's like you could just say they're a punk band too, but they preach about being a hardcore, you know. But 10-Foot Pole and Millencolin were 2 of my favorite bands at the time, and probably like in my top 20 still. Like if I had to go, you know, like
I regret not getting into Millencolin more because the stuff that I did like I listen to it now and it like hits. I'm like, oh, I remember this song. I just didn't like, or I didn't listen to enough of what
they were like more skate punk when they started off, so I saw them in a lot of like skate videos and stuff, and that's how we kind of got into them. And then they kind of turned into more of a rock band, but they're huge in Sweden, like where they're from. Like they actually like, you know, they chart over there. So, but that was great time. A lot of good thing about these is that I remember them too, because this is like before all the years of drinking at shows where it's like I think I had a great time.
I had a good time for at least half.
Yeah, I mean, like looking at the list of bands on paper, I should have had a good time.
Yeah.
All right, what's your number 1?
My number 1 is a festival, so it's almost unfair because it's
Glendale Heights Fest.
It's Glendale Heights
96.
Fest. Yep. There was only one stabbing that year, but Dennis Wellman,
Diggity.
he threw it down. So That's my number one. Is that your number? Oh, no.
I hope that's your number.
My number one is Fest, I think 2012 in Gainesville, Florida.
Okay.
I like Fest more than I liked Warped Tours. And Warped Tours, like, loved them at first, then kind of had there's way too much emo going on here. And then towards the end, it was like, I like this again, and I can find new bands that I've never heard of and that kind of thing. I went to Fest 1 year, and I believe it was 2012. Good Riddance, A Wilhelm Scream, The Swellers, Heart Sounds, Flatliners, Direct Hit, Elway, Anchors was a band that I found there, a band from Australia who I fell in love with and listened to them all the time. I think you would love this band too.
Guy kind of sounds like Nuno a little bit, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I've heard them before.
They're on Creator Destructor Records, which is the Heart Sounds guy singer, who's now the Wilhelm's guitarist. Yep. And but that fest to me was like even better than Warped Tours because it was like a bunch of small venues, like indoor venues, all in one city, like town. It's Gainesville is where the University of Florida is, so it's a little college town, and you basically just go from little venue to little venue seeing all these bands.
How is that tracked though? I mean, like how do you pay for? Do you pay individually, or is it just like I have a ticket for the fest and then that gets you into everything?
A little of both. Like you can buy the passes for everything, or you can buy individual show passes, and then like if there's way too many people, I don't know if there's like a line. I don't know how it is now. Yeah. Back then, I think there was one line that we had to wait in, but it was like a maybe 5-minute wait at most. But yeah, the big bands played at like the theater, which wasn't even a big theater. Like you could just like walk down to the front at any point. And it was just mind blowing. Like I don't think I ever saw Good Riddance before then. So that was huge. Yeah. Wilhelm Swellers, I don't have to talk about it. They're like some of my favorite bands. I remember the Flatliners. That's when they had just put out that album that I always talk about that I always forget the name of it, but it's one of the best albums.
Cavalcade,
yeah, one of the
Love
best.
It. I listened to it today actually when I was cleaning the house.
Top 10 album of all time for me.
Very good.
Love it. Heart Sounds, I only saw them maybe 4 times total. That was one of the times I saw them. Never did. So yeah, and then plus, you know, just going there and being at a different area. You know, you go to Warped Tour every year, and it's the same. You kind of understand. This is like, oh, I'm in a new place, and there's a new thing to understand. Yeah, I don't know. I just loved it, and for this week, I would say that's my number one. There might be changes, you know, in the future or whatever, but like it's one that I always think about. Like, man, I really got to get down there again, and it's been 12 years. So, what is your number one concert?
Before my one, real quick, just a question. Like, speaking of Warped Tour, did you ever go to a Warped Tour outside of Illinois?
I did.
Okay.
I went to Detroit.
So did we. Yeah, we went 1 year to Detroit.
And I got alcohol poisoning. Ooh. And I spent the entire night before and day just throwing up in random places. Ugh. I only drank like twice before I was 21. And one was like it wasn't even really drinking. It was like you had a sip of beer and you're like, ugh. Mm-hmm. This was like, had like 5 Heineken keg cans and a little Mike's Hard Lemonade. Yeah. But we were like 18, 19. I don't know how old we were. Yeah. I believe it was before I was 21. I don't think I was 21 yet. And
I don't think I was either.
Yeah,
you were probably at the same one.
Yeah, most likely. Big Wig played. I remember throwing up, and Big Wig and Catch 22 played, and all these bands.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I think that might have been the only one.
Yeah, we also went to Detroit. Yeah, it was a good time. All right, my number one. This is what I think is my first concert. Actual like a concert going to a venue, not because. It's Guttermouth Descendants and Less Than Jake at Congress Theater. This was May 9th, 1997. I actually looked it up on my phone today. Cow. Yeah, I typed those 3 in, and I remember Congress Theater, and it had the information. A band called Handsome opened, and I remember that. Then a band called Tuesday also, but they weren't listed on the thing. Anyway, like I said, this
Tuesday is on that poster.
Yeah, an Asia man. Yeah. Yeah, this was, like I said, my first concert going to that wasn't at Tower Records, because we actually did see Less Than Jake at Tower Records in Schaumburg, probably right before then. Guttermouth it was funny because that was a band we like knew of by name, but I didn't really know them that well, and it was just kind of like, oh, they got a funny name. Descendants we knew a little bit just because they were on Epitaph. They had Everything Sucks, so we were really into that.
Yeah.
And then Less Than Jake had Losing Streak, so we were big fans of that. But
so let me ask you, who do you like better today out of all those bands? After all these years, are you Less Than Jake, Descendants, or Guttermouth?
Ooh. Well, Descendants, not to be a dick, but yeah, they're not on the list at all. Between the other two, man, I would say Less Than Jake. Guttermouth, I mean, like, musically, Less Than Jake is a better band, and it's consistent because it's been the same band forever. Guttermouth is whoever Mark's touring with at the time. But no, I'm a big fan of both bands still. I know you said the other day when I texted you that you haven't listened to them in years. You're not really missing much, but they still, at least, I mean, like, I would say Mark, and again, whoever he's with, I mean, like, he still puts in the work, man. I mean, he's still, like,
no, 100%.
Just a sloppy mess up there, but he still does it night after night.
I'm, like, waiting for them to come back, because I think we went to the last show, or maybe we met up at the last
probably at
show.
Brower House.
Yeah, so it's been a while,
But real quick, and then also with this show, this was when our buddy Eric, this was the first show that he drove to, because like I said, it was at Congress Theater. We didn't know anything about parking there. Everyone else was parking at a White Castle. So sure enough, when we got out, the car was gone, and everyone else is like, yep, our cars got towed. So after and this was before cell phones, we didn't. And then, like I said, this is 1997. Between the four of us, I don't know, maybe $50. So we didn't even have enough to get his car out. So his dad had to drive downtown at, I don't know, 11 p.m., whatever it was. And it was awkward, man. I'm trying to remember. At first I was thinking, because I was talking to Joni about it before, it's like how this story went. It's like, did we drive the whole way home with Eric's dad? But it's like, no, actually, we had to get the car.
Yeah.
But I think even the 15, 20 minutes in his car, just like him picking us up and driving us to the car to get it out, it was awful, man.
Tense.
It was just like pin drop quiet.
Yeah.
I mean, like you could just hear just the car driving. So yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where we're in the backseat, just kind of like, it just like sucks for him. But yeah, it was one of those things that he was the first one in our group to get a car, so he had all that kind of stuff. And
I had a buddy who's
Eric. If you ever hear this, love you, buddy.
There's so many people who got towed, because we're from the suburbs. We go out to the city and we're like, yeah, this was probably good. And then the next thing
had that at the Metro. There was always like a spot we would go to down the street.
Oh I remember the street that ends over
there.
Yeah,
and then like eventually it started getting nicer, and it was like crap. Like they turned it into something, but. Yeah, so that's my top three, man. You got any notables or?
I do actually. Do you have any?
I got none.
All right, I got a couple. One. I just wanted to mention that Warped Tour 99 was $22. That was under my notables. Riot Fest, by the way, the first one I went to in 2006, I found the ticket stub.
Okay. And
it was $28 or something like that. Now it's $100 a day, $300 if you want the whole weekend, whatever it is. Foo Fighters a couple times. I don't know if you're a Foo Fighters guy.
No, I like them.
So I saw them, I think, twice. Once was at Allstate Arena. Me and Megan were like front row, basically, like on the floor. So that it was, and it was snowing outside. I remember we like got in quick and ran to the front, and then like Pat Smear would stop playing guitar for some songs, and then he was standing in front of us. And so it was cool to see. And I'm a big Nirvana guy, so it was like seeing Nirvana guys in front of you that close. Yeah. And I don't know that I've ever been that close at Allstate too. It's like an arena, and to be front row at the arena. Also, Megan demanded that she be in the top three. Okay. She's like, one of the concerts we've been to is going to be in there, right? Yeah. And I was like, no, but maybe I'll put you in there.
Fine.
But the other one actually is also Foo Fighters acoustic. They did an acoustic album. Skin and Bones was a song on it. I don't know if you're familiar. But anyway, they played the Auditorium Theater in the city. I've never been there before. And we sat all the way at the top of this thing, but the music was so good. And they played Nirvana songs that day. I think they played like Marigold or whatever. And he talked about Kurt Cobain. So anytime you win me over with that.
A guy who's talking about Kurt because he's, it's like, I knew Kurt. Yeah.
Oh, K-Dog?
Yeah.
That's what he called him.
K-Dog.
And then the only other thing was just like going through all this stuff and trying to pick it was so difficult. And then I was like, man, I've been to like reunion shows of bands that I love.
Yeah.
Boll Weevils and 80 Fingers Louie and Naked Ray Gun shows and all these things. And it's like, I feel bad not mentioning those as like top because you never thought you'd see those bands.
Or even like Farewell. But I mean, like some of the, like I remember going to Face to Faces, and it's like they're still active now.
Face to Face with My Chemical Romance at the Metro, and
My Chemical Romance actually is not a band anymore. So it's like, we saw their farewell tour.
So I mean, just the fact that it was just such a hard list to come up with. So it was just like, I don't know, this might change. Don't ask me.
And like Strung Out's my favorite band, and it's like I can think of like Strung Out and Death by Stereo, Counterpunch, and This Is a Standoff. Like that was one of them, and it's like thinking about it though, but it's like I still don't have great memories that are recollections from that. That was a stacked lineup. That's two of my favorite bands, Death by Stereo and Strung Out, but it was like, but the other ones have stories, And
by the way, Bigwig, one of my favorite bands. Yeah. It's like the same thing. It's like
seeing them in Arlington Heights at the VFW. Yeah. I mean, stuff like that, where it's just like, where it's like almost like the first time I saw Guttermouth at Brower House, where it's just like until I walk in and see them, I still don't believe that. It's like, why is this show 7 minutes away from my house? I couldn't believe that.
Well, and then you're talking about like Bigwig at Arlington Heights. The Timmies opened for them. Yeah. Never knew who the Timmies were. Blew us all out of the water. Yeah. Then randomly we'd book them to play a show for us. And then
they worked for us for one night.
And then I'm still friends with the singer. Friends, we're like Facebook friends, Robbie. And we like, I like his picture. He likes some of my pictures and stuff like that. They played a reunion show.
Springfield, right?
Yeah, Springfield, Illinois. Wow. They played a show this past summer. I almost just went down there just to like be like, "Hey, do you remember me?" But
they were great, man. But that's probably probably those two times, because I do remember that with Bigwig, and then at the Brunswick we got them. That was great.
So it was just like impossible to do this list, but solid list. You could, I mean, I was like so. Good memories. When I looked at the ticket stubs, I was like, "This is going to be awful." But then, as I looked through the ticket stubs, I was like, "This is incredible!" Yeah. Like all the stuff.
You could have just pulled the top three and just been like, "Yeah."
So let's do our top three. We have the new bucket, and I've tried to assemble it because we've just been putting it on the table because I didn't get it ready. Well, now I have some. We'll see if this works at all.
You have twine.
Yeah, there's twine attached to this thing. I had to put in a new ramp. This is rough. Is it going to work? All right. And it hits the screen, and the screen shatters. But that's all right. All right. Next week's top three topic will be...
Top three is... Top three bands from Illinois.
All right. There you go. Timmy's. Will they be on the list? Top three Illinois bands. So it could be anybody. It could be anything, Cheap Trick. It
doesn't have to be...
it could be...
doesn't have to be punk bands.
Eggroll Willie.
Could be Atlantic Lag. Could be the Fuzzheads. Fuzzheads. Dave.
Good reference.
Yeah. It's what $5 gets you around here.
And that's it. $6 will kick the Fuzzheads out of here. Yeah. $6 will... Dave will be gone, and your picture can be up there. Until then, Dave, congratulations. You are in the advertising spot. Other guys, Hattori, Hanzo, Mike.
Yeah.
Mike needs a better nickname.
I know.
We have a Hattori, Hanzo, we have a Useless Dave, and then we have Mike. I got to give Mike something.
We'll come up with something.
Yeah. But thank you guys, and I think that's it for the show. We will see you next week.
See ya.